Welcome everyone to this special live session at Summer Game Fest of the Indie Council. This is the place where the greatest and brightest, hopefully, minds of the indie space come together to talk about news, titles, and everything indie. I am your Master of Ceremonies, Jill Grote, the Indie Informer, and today I have with me Janet, who is ready to be scared of the spotlight.
Yeah. Was it Fear It, Don't Fear It? I forget what the name of the game is, but I'm excited to talk about everything we played. What's up?
Also on the council today, we have Mike Towndrow.
Hi, Jenny. You want to have them hold hands? Our Volvy's hold hands?
And Volvy is joining us.
Look at that.
His 15th birthday. Everybody.
Happy birthday, Volvy. Yay. Video games.
So today's a bit of a special day. We are live. We are on location in LA for Summer Game Fest. And we're going to be telling you about the things that we have seen and we have played today. Or over the past 4 days. It's been a long
whole month.
4 days. Yeah. A month has happened every day this week.
This is, we were kind of workshopping how to take advantage of being in person. And they have these little, what would you call these, hand fans?
Yeah, fans.
Of Volvy, the Devolver Digital mascot. So I thought it'd be fun if we kind of integrated that into the show, obviously explaining it for the people who just have the audio version of the, Me Too kind of thing or whatever. But I figured I think maybe the easiest way to use it, is we can just all go around and mention, we can take it, segment by segment for, Day of the Devs, Annapurna, or whatever, and just say, oh, I played this, and then it's, we may, raise our little Volvy if we've done it. Yeah, exactly. If we want to do a yay or nay for things, we can do that, too, but... Yeah. I guess, it's not unlike what we've been playing. It's what if that was an episode and we were also in person?
Yes, 100%. So I don't know. Let's go in chronological order of what we were doing.
We can do chronological, yeah.
So we were at Summer Game Fest. The first thing I have is the Guerrilla Collective, is where I started playing games.
Cool. As per tradition, I did not play anything at the Mix / the Guerrilla Collective.
This is untrue. You did play the one...
Oh, I played 5 minutes of... Oh, man. The horror game. Dread XP.
It was very scary.
Yeah.
It was so scary we've forgotten it.
I'm very excited for it. Heartworm. There it is.
Yeah. It looked scary, and so I walked away before it got too scary. But for me, let's see. I played Smoking Aces. This is the one that was the hand-drawn...
The Clive Owen film?
Yes. I played Clive Owen.
Whoa.
It was hand-drawn, black and white, noir, 1920s gangster. I was picking up bats and hitting people with them.
The game is called Falling Aces.
No, it's not.
Fallen Aces. Yes, Smoking Aces is the film, the Clive Owen film.
Okay. Well, never mind. Fallen
the New
Aces,
Blood game.
Fallen Aces.
The New Blood game.
The New Blood game, yes.
Fallen Aces.
Never mind. I'm going to say that my notes changed in autocorrect.
Yeah, of course.
I also played... This is 100% This is such a long title, and I think I'm getting it correctly, so check me, chat, if I'm wrong. It's something like the tribute to the best RPG, the second half of the best RPG that ever was, and they're a huge Game Informer fan, so shout out to them. I really enjoyed it. It's kind of 2D side-scrolling... sort of D&D-ish, sort of
cool.
Going through and getting... I couldn't open the chest. I had to get something else, and I was really sad. I also played Guitar of Death Guitar?
Okay.
Death of Guitar, and then Haunt and Seek. Oh, I literally have written down...
Heartworm.
Mike.
It's been a long week, y'all.
Yeah, it really has. I hope everyone's enjoying this.
Wait, which one was Death Guitar again?
It was the one with the guitar that literally you play as the guitar. So there we go. We have our first Volvy appearance. Janet.
Yeah, I'm kind of cheating because I didn't play it at the event, but I played it at, it wasn't GDC. Maybe it was a Day of the Devs that they just did in LA or something. But I'd played it not too long ago, and I really like that game. I think it has a really frantic energy to it. It's sort of, genre-wise, what would you call that, Jill? It's kind of
it's sort of a platformer. It's sort of a...
beat 'em up energy with a bit of a speed run flavor to it almost.
Yeah, a little bit. The thing is, you play as a guitar, and in order to attack people, you have to strum yourself. And that sends out a blast of energy, and they die really gruesomely. Like, they fly across the room, and they have blood splatter everywhere. But, like, the blood is kind of like pixels, and it's sort of pink, so it's not as gruesome as it sounds. But it's still really funny, actually.
Yeah, it kind of like, I don't know, not anything can be quite this cool, but, like, y'all remember when in Mad Max, when, like, the truck that has like the guitarist came through, and that like the feeling of that power. This game is kind of trying to encapsulate that vibe because of the way like music is an attack. So it's very like, I don't know, rock and roll like burger bar flavors in a way. Like I don't know. That's kind of that's sort of how I would describe it. And I thought it was really fun.
100%. I think most people walking around during the event were pushing people to go play that game, especially. So. That might be one of the best games that I saw for the Guerrilla Collective. A Volvy appearance.
I forgot. I played Fallen Aces like 2 years ago. It's good. It's real good. It's a good boomer shooter.
Yeah, it is.
That's
a lot of fun.
Yeah.
It's got cool energy. I ended up in a comic book shop at some point.
Yeah.
And they had like memorabilia for whatever comic book just happened to have like a spiky bat, and I'm like, yes, I'm set for the rest of this game.
They announced a launch date.
I'll go for it.
I don't know it. I know it's episodic, which is interesting.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
cool stuff. Also, shout out to New Blood for putting out that billboard.
Yeah, that was a very fun.
Yeah, what do y'all break down? What's up with that billboard? What was on it? What's the story there?
Go ahead, Mike.
The photo is on the phone that we're recording with, so I literally cannot.
The basic idea of it was they were in support of a lot of the studios, a lot of the creators who've been recently laid off, and just saying essentially like, we hate money.
Yeah.
We hate that this is what is happening to our community. We support all of the devs. And the big part of all of this was that they got a billboard right across from the JW Hotel, which a lot of you will know from reputation as the hotel where a lot of the media kind of goes. So everyone who was in the industry would see it.
Yeah. Yeah, very punk rock of them.
Very, very cool. I think that those are the only things for the Guerrilla Collective.
A lot of hugs, a lot of good vibes.
Yeah, I mean, that's a lot of what's going on now.
Just to add, pulling from Stephen Tosillo's tweet about it, it is basically like in memory of the closures, and they shout out Arcane, Austin, Tango, GameWorks, Roll7, Sony's London Studio, Volition, and more. And yeah, they have the quote is, "We love you, we miss you, we hate money."
Yeah. There you go. That could be the end of the show, like that's 100% perfect.
Yeah. So chronological order, technically next for me at least was IGN Live.
Yeah, tell us about that. I think I didn't get to go, but did you go as well?
No, I did not go. So you're the sole representative.
Wow. Hello, my name is Ryan McCaffrey. So IGN Live is another remote event happening at the same time. It's definitely more geared towards fans. They have two kind of like sections in IGN Live. The one section is like an actual stage setup, so you could go hang out, watch the live shows like they did live up at noon. They had some folks that they were interviewing. There's a really cute pup running around.
Yeah,
oh my goodness.
It's adorable.
And then in a back section, they were selling some merch, and then in a back section had a bunch of stations set up for a lot of cool games. A weird mix of like indie, then just like retro arcade stuff, which is interesting.
Cool.
I think they were trying to sell those one-up arcades, which makes sense. So I got to play a few things. The first being Squirrel with a Gun.
Squirrel with a Gun.
I finally got to play Squirrel with a Gun. Oh, yeah.
Another Volvy appearance is here.
Another Volvy. Yeah, we have to keep shouting out the Volvy appearances. So if you're unfamiliar with Squirrel with a Gun, first off, how dare you? Because it was featured on the 6-Way Indie Showcase. Jesus. But Squirrel with a Gun is exactly what it sounds like. It is a fun little platformer where you play as a squirrel and you are glocked up to the nines. The setup is that you are breaking into like this underground government layer kind of thing to steal this precious acorn, and then an FBI agent pops up and he's like, "Hey, don't take the acorn." He trips, he drops his gun, and the squirrel gets the gun, and then all of a sudden you're just shooting dudes down.
Yeah.
And it's a wonderful time.
And to be clear, the scale of this, it's a regular-sized squirrel and a regular-sized gun that then looks gigantic in the squirrel's
Yes, it is hilarious.
Right.
What I wasn't expecting, and maybe you could attest to this also, I wasn't expecting this game to give like 3D Mario vibes.
A little bit, yeah.
Yeah, it's like a 3D platformer.
Yeah, 100%.
Versus like a third-person shooter.
You can use the gun not only for like shooting people, which of course it's a gun, but you can point it down, and because the gun is so much bigger than you, the momentum propels you into the air. So you are also using it as a traversal system, which is a little tough because like you don't have infinite ammo. So you do have to decide whether or not you want to be able to like shoot everyone around you or to jump. Because when I played it, it was definitely back at Day of the Devs. It was some kind of like, we were in some parking lot and there was a saloon with a ton of people. I'm not sure you were supposed to be able to get out of it alive. I certainly didn't, but yeah. I just got to play with a bunch of different, it's like, it wasn't just the Glock, it was...
There's
like,
an
Uzi, and I had like a grenade launcher, and I had like it was I don't know how to think about this game. I think it's going to
chaos.
I think it's just going to be a chaos sandbox situation. Yeah. I don't know if it'll
like
be
a
like
chaos
a gaming
collectathon. I think it's a collectathon.
It'll be an experience of some sort. Yeah.
All games are experiences to some extent.
Exactly.
Next, I played Wild Bastards.
So good. Oh, Volvy.
Yeah.
Volvy appearance. Oh, I can't get it off the ground.
It's sticky.
Volvy.
The follow-up to Void Bastard. So, roguelike. How would you describe the map segment? Turn-based, kind of?
Sure.
Strategy, RTS, sort of?
Branching path, kind of.
Yeah, so like think of like a Mario level. It's like branching paths in like a space station, and each like, again, using a Mario level as an example, you go down to the level and then it turns into this kind of like arena shooter sort of thing. Void Bastard is definitely more on the sci-fi side of things. This is clearly sci-fi, but this
it's space sci-fi. It's Firefly.
Yeah, this is very like spaghetti western inspired.
Yeah.
And I weirdly I really love cowboy shit. I don't know if I've ever disclosed that on any podcast.
No, I don't think so. We just got lore drop.
Yeah.
Lore drop. Gun for the Xbox 360, a bop.
Oh my God.
So I didn't click with Void Bastards, but I think because this has like 100% more cowboys, I'm into Wild Bastards quite a bit.
I think you and I feel exactly the same about that.
cowboys?
100% more cowboys, 100% more interest. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Y'all. It's great though. Like I had to kind of tear myself away from the demo station because I could have sat there for hours playing through. And gameplay wise, it's a first person shooter similar to Fallen Aces. It's like boomer shooter kind of.
But it's not.
Yeah.
Like it's so weird. Like I got to play a little bit. You can go to theindianformer.com and check out my preview. And you see the narrative setup. You're being followed by the big bad's like youngest son, who's kind of a screw up. And you beam down onto a planet in order to break the technology that keeps you from using your warp speed. And when you're on a planet, the planet has a planet map, and you have to decide what you're going to do, where you have a certain amount of movement. You can move your characters around. It's kind of like chess. And once you're done with your movement, then the bad guys are coming towards you. But then once you actually like connect and engage with them in combat, then you get ported over into a 3D arena space where you have to eliminate everybody in that area in order to move on. And you are, for the most part, you have more than one hero that's on the planet at the same time. So what that means for combat is when you're in combat, you are playing one person. And if for some reason you need to, if you want their special ability, or if your person's health is getting low, you can just switch on over automatically to the other person. I would do this a lot. When I played Spider Rosa, who looks very much like a sugar skull on top and a spider on bottom. Because she has like a couple of like pistols and she reloads.
Not 8.
She's only got 2. She's got 8 limbs.
Correct. Spider lore.
Dropping. So she's got pistols, but she can reload with all her other 8 limbs, 6 limbs, minus the 2 that are holding pistols.
Correct, yes.
Okay, thank you. Math lore. And so you're constantly, like, you don't have to reload. You're constantly able to shoot. So I like using her. But the other character that was playing Casino, his special ability is once you pick up a juice, which lets you use your special ability, he just automatically kills someone.
Yeah.
Just immediately. So if you only have one person left on the map and you don't feel like finding them, switch over to him, boom, they're dead. And you've won.
It's a good time.
Yes. And then once you're in, usually you're trying to find something, so you're trying to find like a hero or you're trying to get to a specific looting thing. But once it's time to go, you can go to like the stairway to heaven. It's hilarious. And peace out. And you want to do this before McNeil, who is the younger son of the bad guy, gets to you, because he's going to definitely decimate everybody. So yeah, it is a really cool mixture of strategy and real fighting. All of the writing is like genius and really fun. I don't know. Do you have anything else that you felt about it?
No thoughts, had empty. No, it's a great time. If you are interested in it, if you like Void Bastards, there is a Steam Next Fest demo out right now, so you can go play it.
Yeah, 100%.
Probably the same build that we played.
Yeah,
most likely.
I would imagine.
And 2 super quick ones, because I didn't put too much time into them. Dragon is Dead from PM Studios. It's essentially Dead Cells meets DMC, kind of. Yep. Super cool. I really want to get into it. It's out now, I believe. I think it's shadow dropped during the IGN show. And then Sanzai.
Did
any of you play Sanzai? No Volvies, okay.
No Volvies.
I didn't get enough time into it, but it's essentially the Persona relationship building system and like the calendar system with, I know this also sounds like Persona, but the Pokemon capture mechanics. So like action side scroller with relationship building, and once you fight all these like little spoopy ghosts, you get to capture their spirits. The most notable thing here is how gorgeous the game is. It's all hand drawn, really delicate little detail. Real quick, hey Tony over here. Come over here.
Hey, how's it going?
Hi, this is Tony. He's making a real cool game called Anton Blast. What's the pitch?
You play as a little red demolition worker named Anton.
Yeah.
He's on a death mission to hell to kill Satan after he's stolen all of his booze out of jealousy for being more red than Satan is.
Sick.
And that's about it.
Cool.
Yeah.
You heard it here first.
Wishlist it.
Yeah.
Cowards.
Anton Blast. Coming out November 12th.
November 12th.
There we go.
November 12th.
Bye, everyone.
You can remember it because it's the day after Veterans Day. So there you go.
There you go. Was that planned the day after Veterans Day?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Once again, politics enters gaming. You know, you hate to see it.
Wow, you hate to see it.
Woke Anton Blast.
Yeah, woke Anton
you
Blast.
heard it
Jeez.
Okay, and then I think...
Love you, Tony. Hey, Sanzai, cool. It's good. But yeah, I didn't get to play nearly enough just because we had to run to the big Keeley show.
Woo, speaking of the Keeley show, we are currently at Play Days. That's where we're recording. So let's talk about what we have played while we were here. Janet.
Yeah, let's see. We're starting off on the first actual day of Play Days where you're playing, I believe, is Saturday? Yes, it is.
Can we talk about how goddamn confusing the day structure is?
Yeah.
I don't like that this thing started on Saturday and it's currently on Monday.
Yeah, it's basically I like to think of it as like, well, I do think of the show, like the live show, as day 1. And then I think of the day before the live show as day 0 because a lot of times people want to do stuff. Okay, but yeah, it's a little funky. It's a lot of scrolling through the calendar. So I believe the first thing I played was Steam World Heist 2.
Yep. We're all there. They were all
Nothing but Volvies in the house.
Unanimous
Oh, yeah, I
Volvy.
can see.
Hi friends, Mike here from the future. After a riveting conversation about SteamWorld Heist 2 that lasted about 7 minutes, it turns out we forgot that all that information is embargoed until an undisclosed date in the future. So you'll hear about SteamWorld Heist 2 eventually. Back to the show.
Mixer.
I don't know. Hey, Red Valentine, IGN.
Sorry. No.
Come on in. Rebecca Valentine, now part of the Indie Council.
What was your favorite indie of the show?
Okay,
Or IGN Live, you could, whatever.
I'm sorry, I'm going back through all the games that I played. What? Just that I saw, not just that I played.
Whatever.
Oh yeah, mouse.
No rules.
Mouse probably, but there's some.
the real name of that
No.
game.
No, it's a little cozy
Winterboro.
mouse. Winterboro probably. I really dug that. I really liked like a lot of things in Day of the Devs. I'm trying to even remember. I'm sorry, I'm 20% stupider. While Waiting was really good. UFO 50 seems really cool. I love the concept behind that.
Building relationships.
Yeah, I played that too. Okay, you're listing all the ones I played. Building relationships is really cool.
Would you like to tell your After Love EP little antidote?
Oh yeah, I accidentally because this is not a spoiler. The premise of that game is that the girlfriend is dead, and she dies in like the first 5 minutes of the game. And I accidentally I was very intensely into what I was playing, and I was leaning on the button that skips the cutscene. So I skipped the death cutscene.
Oh, no.
So the PR person like leans over and is like, "Hey, so you just missed the part where she dies. Let me explain it to you. You were supposed to cry here." Like, oh, great, good job.
Start crying here.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, this is terrible.
Okay.
Cool.
Yeah. Sorry.
you so much for
I'm
dropping
sorry.
in.
No, that's
sorry
perfect.
for
Oh.
completely-
To answer your question though, I believe it's supposed to be where the food trucks were. I think.
Oh, you're gonna say
your
that
question.
into the
Yeah.
microphone?
Yeah. Why not? This
Yeah,
is
that's
what the
where
live
we're at.
content
I was
is
supposed
for.
to come over here, so
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's by those like food trucks.
Yeah.
But
This
to be clear, I did not go though. So
Yeah.
yes.
So anybody
Yeah,
who's not-
Imran, come on, get it together. Be supportive.
Yeah.
For once in your life. Anyway, Imran, friend of the show.
Yeah, 100%.
I guess next up I can share. I played Parcel Corps, and I also played. They were kind of the same bundle because it was underneath Level Infinite, Critter Cafe. So I'll just go over those really briefly. Parcel is it Corp or
I think it's
Core?
Core.
It's Core, right? That's how you pronounce that word. Yeah. Parcel Core is a it's like a bicycling like delivery game. That's kind of leading into like being cheeky about like the gig economy. It has elements of like crazy taxi. Sometimes there's like a crazy taxi mode that you can play within the game, and there's also like a lot of almost like trick cycling and parkour and like speeding through. Here's the thing with this game. I was like so hot on the premise of it because I love games like that. Like I'm a big fan of Ali World and just like, oh yeah, we're hanging out, we're gonna Vibrant World. To the game's credit, I might have just been bad at this game because I feel like to the game's credit, I definitely was bad at this game, but I felt like I was sort of the jury's out for me on this one. I didn't connect with it. It didn't really feel like. I feel like it looked really fun, but then when I played it, it just didn't feel fun to play. I think it was very like. I had a hard time like the things that are enjoyable about the game. I had a hard time really feeling like I was fully engaging with things like like grind on the ramps and do this other stuff. Like I just would hit a lot of and some of that again maybe is my maybe is no we got it we got it maybe it's just like an ability thing and like a skill thing. So that being said, part of me does want to like give it another shot and kind of see what's up, but that one didn't quite hit for me. And then the other one I want to go over really briefly is Critter Cafe. This is a game that is basically just like following the idea of like, hey, like cat cafes, animal cafes, what if they were just different little creatures?
Yeah.
And the serving at the cafes has like different mini games attached to it, based on like the type of drinks, and you can have like create spaces. So like a club can like what's the word, like almost like book space in your cafe. Like we want to have a movie night, and then you can like set up the area for a movie night and have certain like creatures who are like, I don't know, good at hanging out at the movie night. It's like, oh, you're Terry, you're working today. You're like an alligator looking thing. Like people love you at the movie night.
Love alligators.
Something like that. It's like all the creatures are like partially based on real animals, but they have like a fantastical spin. If you've seen games like Niantic's Peridot, which I feel like no one really has, so don't know why I brought that up, but it's like they had that magical. Or what's the name of that worm? What's the name of that worm you like from that one? Good Bad Volcano High. What's that worm's name?
Oh, that little worm.
It's Mango. I just got a plushie. If only I'd brought it. Mango.
If you're like Jill and your fellow like mango
It's a
stan.
velvet
Yeah,
worm,
mango
I'll have
sicko.
you know.
A development worm?
It's a velvet worm.
So it's like kind of similar.
I don't like those words together.
Similar like kind of designs and vibes. This one was like a little bit more hands off. Got my hands on the sticks for like there's also like and I don't want to say overworld component, like an outside world, like the actual world, like not just the cafe. Like you go into there, that's where you like find the creatures to save, and then there's like a little bit of puzzle stuff. That part seemed like really like some of it seems a little bit like basic and maybe a little too like thin, but the thing that I was drawn to is like stuff like the creature design, and I think the mechanic system feels like very like well thought out and integrated. So that one's like jury's still out, but like slightly more positive, while Parcel Core is like jury's still out, slightly more negative.
Okay.
Is kind of my impressions of both of those.
You get both sides here.
Yeah, you know me, the classic, both sides are. That's what they say. Does anyone else want to?
Garcia over here.
Yeah, you know, I'm like, what do the people say? Yeah. I agree. I can keep going through my schedule, but do we want to just do it that way? Do you want to have like?
Yeah, no,
what's the best way? I do like the Volvy integration of the.
Yeah,
which is kind of egotistical because it was partially my idea to be like, I love my idea. Like that's like annoying, but you know.
I think Rebecca Valentine did a good overview for all of the games that were Day of the Devs this time around.
Yeah, just real quick, I think UFO 50 is super interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, 50 separate minigames. I think it's quite fascinating that the 3 minigames that, well, not even minigames, the 3 games that I played all are distinctly different from one another and feel great to play. I played the golf game where you control a little golf ball.
I played that too.
Here's the thing though. Everyone I've talked to has played different games.
So I did the golf game.
You can't call it the golf game though.
Why? Oh,
because
is there
someone
multiple golf games?
sat down and was like, I played the golf game. I'm like, I played the golf game. He's like, yeah, it was like a top-down little Zelda-like. I'm like, what? No, my golf game was
my golf game was golf.
My golf game was like a fantasy, like futuristic golf game.
Mine was like a top-down Zelda-like.
Mine wasn't either of those. I don't think it wasn't fantasy future. Well, I wouldn't call it fantasy futuristic. So my golf game was when you hit the ball, you only saw like the ball and the trajectory of the ball. But once you like hit select for like, oh, I want to like take my shot, a character appeared to take the shot.
That sounds correct. That sounds.
So
like
is that it? Okay, I guess
that was a fantasy.
I guess no offense, I did not read that as futuristic fantasy, but in all of our defense, it's very like low fi graphics.
And it's got neon. So
mine was like, I think, Game Boy aesthetic.
Yeah.
It's all the same golf game. We're all just bad at describing it.
No. You've got a different golf game.
Are we sure?
Yes.
Anyways, I also played a side-scrolling beat 'em up and a little shooter, like an arena shooter.
Yeah, I played a cowboy RPG, the golf game, the future golf game, and then it was the Magic Gardens. It was kind of like a snake game.
Oh, okay.
Fun. I do want to shout out too that with UFO 50, a couple things. One, it's also it's kind of like packaged as these are games for a console that never existed, but it's like an imagined console.
Yeah.
So that is like very cool and like kind of an extra layer of lore. I also want to shout out that there are
lore drops.
Yeah, that's a lore. It's a lore heavy show. Yeah. I also want to shout out that there are multiplayer games within this, quite a few. I actually exclusively played the multiplayer ones because I went with my colleague Charles Hart. Shout out to Charles. So we did that, and that was really cool. And then I want to also make a mention of, I was talking to Greg Rice, what is Greg Rice's title at this point? What's the back of Greg's baseball card?
Indie boy, senior.
Yeah, Dev's indie boy.
Yes.
Indie tall boy.
It's a little lad who's tall.
Tall lad Greg Rice, who has a job that I just don't want to butcher the title, so I'd rather just not, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
If anyone wants to look at his Twitter or something, that's fine.
Okay.
So he had mentioned to me about that game, that there are games within that are like incredibly long. That like some of those RPGs are like several dozen hours long. So there's just like a lot of content, a lot of creativity. It is not as frenetic and like we're here as like WarioWare is, but the idea of like a quick slice of something, if that's appealing to you, and if you like weird experimental stuff. Like I played a game where we were two like slanted lima beans, and the game was figuring out the controls of the game. Like you're kind of racing each other, but the controls are all like effed up. It's like you jump by like holding down on the D-pad and hitting like another button. It's like weird stuff.
Greg Rice is lead curator for Day of the Devs.
Lead curator.
There you go. What else was that Day of the Devs?
All those.
Phoenix Springs. That was my first time playing it. I really loved it. It's a point and click game with how would you describe that art style? It's like a
hand-drawn
comic book, really saturated,
almost like high-res
illustrated.
Yeah.
No, right? High-res like Mothman. What is it? 19? What is this?
I thought you were just talking about Mothman the creature, not the game.
No, the game.
Sure. Yeah.
What is it? 19 what?
1956.
Or like Varney Lake.
Yeah. That one's nice. It doesn't have a year on it.
Yeah,
it's like high-res Varney Lake. One thing I really loved about that is the mystery solving structure is you're navigating a space point and click, and when you get a, like, you interact with an option. Like, I'll make up if it was here, right? It'd be like, oh, you interact with a can of Coca-Cola, and it's like, that's a can of Coca-Cola. And then you might get the word Coca-Cola. This is not sponsored by Coca-Cola. I don't know what I'm saying.
Sort of like,
Coca-Cola?
Yeah, like
sort of Coca-Cola. Oh,
like
refreshing.
Golden Idol, sort of. You like
pop.
get
Yeah.
the item, like the word
Yes.
that pops up.
And it almost has like the integration of using those terms, like combined with like you get a computer and it's like I can search like those key terms on the computer, like the integration of that. It kind of feels like if you've ever done like baby coding, like the very like when you're a kid or when you're just starting, it's like drag and drop coding. If you've done that, it like has that UI structure, which I think is very appealing. And all of the options where you can look at something, talk to something, or like use something. And it's fun because there's like funky little writing for like, you know, it's like, can I talk to a door? And they're like, nothing's going to happen with that. So it was very enjoyable. I played it for literally like 7 minutes or something, but it was real fun. What about y'all?
The one thing that I really like about the writing that I love in writing in general is like the character will say something that's totally, you can tell for them, completely normal. And they don't even think about how it might be a weird thing. And the only kind of way to tell there's any dissonance with that is to stop and think for a second. So like the character will comment on the world around her, like a lot of narrative games, but she'll say things like, oh, my computer, the government issued blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, like subtle world building context stuff.
The one that really tripped me up was like, oh, it's a mirror. I can see myself. It's also recording at this moment. Probably
Yeah, it's a video surveillance.
Yeah, and I'm like, and she's totally fine with this. This is just normal life for her.
That's funny because I had an interaction with the mirror as well. But so the premise of the game is you're looking for your brother Leo something. I forget his last name.
Dorner?
Yeah, something like that. I think so. Definitely with the D, I think. But I went to the mirror, and I'm also playing with Charles on this one. I went to the mirror, and I'm like, let's like try to use like the brother's name on the mirror. Ooh. And I forgot I just got like some kind of like throwaway like, oh, I'm looking for Leo. I don't know, something like that. But I'm like, I really want, like, me and Charles really want her to say, like, I look just like my brother. Like, I don't know. But that being said, I still had fun, even though she didn't say I look just like my brother. Yeah. But it would have been a little better if she had. So, 8 out of 10.
I'm excited to play this not in an event setting where we could really, like, take our time with it and really dig into the world. Again, another world premiere from the 6 Indie Showcase from last August, I think.
I'll go for it.
So it was really cool to like actually see it. I really wish the devs were here. They're super kind. They're super friendly. Obviously, they're very far away from here. But yeah, it was nice. It was very cathartic feeling to finally go hands on with it. And it's amazing that like it looks even better in person when you're actually controlling everything. Yeah. And I'm not a point and click person, but it's it has something.
I think the next thing that I really want to talk about, because we've all played it, is Fear of the Spotlight.
Wait. So are we done with Day of the Devs?
I think so.
I will say real quick, After Love Reb talked about it really quick. But I just want to give a special shout out to it. It's Fami's last game. I did not play it because I didn't want to play it. I didn't want to become an emotional wreck.
Put your Volvy down then.
Oh, well, okay. But I talked to the PR rep, and we were just talking about like the process of what it's been like after Fami's passing, and what that process of, I guess, adapting his vision without him is. It's really fascinating to hear that like he just had like manuscripts and sketches and just so many notes, and the team like delicately taking all that and interpreting his vision into what we are seeing today with this final product. Yeah.
It's wild how much life is reflecting art here.
Yeah.
Because the game, like we said, is about a musician whose partner has died, and he is hearing her voice and continuing life like that. And for the dev team to be making a game like that, for the dev team to be making a game like that in the circumstances of having lost someone close to them who was the creator of this game, it's like the parallels are so wild. This must have been such a deeply personal and at times emotionally difficult game to play.
I can't imagine what the development process was like, but it's coming in October. Excited is a weird term to use, but I'm excited to finally play it and experience the story. The PR rep mentioned that Fami is in the game. I believe he's a barista at like...
Oh, cute.
It's Coffee Chat or something.
Coffee Chat or something like that. Yeah, it's special.
Yeah, that's a cute Easter egg to have in there for sure. And yeah, that's also one that's like, it's a slower burn game because it's like a story game. So, it'll be more fun when we're like really seeing like what it is. And then the last shots for Day of the Devs, while waiting, if you're looking for weird stuff and if you got an open mind and open heart, While Waiting might be interesting to you because it is actually, would you want to pitch what this game is?
I taped a piece of paper to the face of a dog to make sure it couldn't see anything, and I got an award. That's what you need to know. That's what you need to know. Yeah.
This game was fascinating to play, especially talking to like the developer was there. Yeah, it's all good. The developer was there.
I got distracted by the Monster Hunter creative director or whoever it is.
Which is not.
That's not an indie game. Yeah. Ask them what their favorite indie game is. What's your favorite indie game? But yeah, they get a lot of people around. But it is a game that's like very intentionally meant to be boring. Like the developer was there and was like, this is a boring video game. It's about passing time and waiting. The game is called what's called While Waiting. It's about waiting. You're gonna be bored. It's like there's a button you can press just to like kill the time. You gotta find something else to do. Like it's
like a fidget spinner mechanic.
Right.
Yeah, it is like. And there is like, I would say, not that that's not enough, but there is more to the game in terms of what like Jill you're describing with like having like additional objectives. But you like walk really slow. It's like or like the game is designed in a way to be irksome on purpose. But what I found kind of cool about it is because everything is so slowed down and takes forever, your perception of time kind of changes and like it's not as annoying as it might be in a differently structured game. Yeah. And I think that's what makes it really interesting and really fun. Flavor-wise, it reminds me a little bit of, again, not very slow, but like of actually WarioWare again. And the other thing I pulled from this is, I don't know if y'all are familiar with the game Consider It.
Yep.
Okay, if you're not, Consider It is a game that, again, I keep using WarioWare. That one is very WarioWare inspired because it's quick, and you're trying to be polite. So you're doing mini games where it's like, you figure out what side of the elevator do you stand on, or escalator do you stand on, or like someone's, like a pregnant woman needs a seat, you get up or something like that. And some of it is like a little bit like cultural norms for like that region, but like most of them are just like, what would be a nice thing to do? Like, oh, you're with your girlfriend, you stand on the side that has the cars. And it's like the little kind of quick, cutesy, weird puzzle games. Again, this is a slow game and that is a much more fast game. But the flavor of funky and weird is reminiscent in both of those. So yeah, I thought that was really cool. And I think the last thing that I saw, I didn't spend that much time with it because I was horrified. Zoocosis. Zoocosis is the tagline to this that was on the display was I think it's like rescue the animals or something. Yeah. And I love animals. But the picture is of like a really effed up looking horse. Yeah. And I sat down and it's a horror game and I'm like, you know what? I want to spread my wings a little bit. You know, I want to learn about Mike's culture. I sat down, I started playing this. I was like, I need Mike here. We need to see Mike's reaction. I need a friend to help me play this game. Unfortunately, it never lined up for anyone to join me on.
Yeah, you got kicked out, right?
Yeah. Well, here's the thing. It was open seating, and it's like someone else wanted to play. I don't want to just hog the station. And not to mention, I'm so scared of playing this game. But the long and the short of it is a game where the premise is you are working at a like messed up zoo. Like the animals can get sick, and they can get all disturbing looking, and I didn't get that far in it, so I can't really tell you about like I did not meet any of these animals yet. I met a regular draft, not a sick draft.
Keep this pointing this way.
Yeah. I guess. Yeah. I mean, anyway, yeah. So it's like a messed up zoo, and one thing I thought that was really cool about it is it has a lot of like sim elements. Again, I think we're seeing a lot of horror drawing in more like genre blending. Yeah. So I thought it was really fun that they had stuff like. One of the first things you do is you like fix the food for the giraffe, and they give you like a palette of like herbs, and they're like, okay, cut out like it's like I'll make it up. It's like, oh, this is 5 kilograms. You need 2 kilograms to put in the mixer. So then you have to kind of just eye it when you cut it, and like that mechanic was like very cool, like for like a cooking. So there's like cooking in this. You're like vacuuming up like. Literal shit, like that's part of the game, which is like gross, and it has like really like disgusting sound design for it. So it is a horror game, but I'm interested in this. I would like to try to continue, but it is very scary. Yeah, and playing this with headphones is not my ideal way to play it. I would like to play it far away from the screen, far away from the sound. You know, I just need a little bit of little bit more support because I don't really like to do horror. So the idea of putting on headphones and playing a horror game, is like less not as appealing to me or not as comfortable. But I was drawn to it. I thought it was really interesting. So
yeah, continuing the trend of things that for some reason one of us played and Mike didn't. Karma: The Dark World.
I did not see this video game on the show.
This game did not exist. Only Jill played this game.
Jill is clearly delirious and dehydrated.
Here's the thing, that's perfectly fitting for the theme of this game. This game is delirious and creepy, and like the idea is there is it's kind of an alternate reality World War II situation where a giant company took over and promised the end of the war, but in order to do it, they sort of like took control of like free will, essentially. So it ended the war and everyone was happy, but now you have a mega corporation literally controlling everyone in the world. And you play as one of their like agents that go around and police people, and you do that by like jumping into their brain, and to prove that they're doing the thing. So the demo that
Oh shit, I know what you were talking about.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not here, but I know what you're talking about.
It is here. Go play it.
It's the end of the event. I can't.
It's so good. It's so you jump into the demo and you are the agent going into someone's mind, and this person is so effed up. Like they think that a monster is following them. They can see you go. At one point, you're like I think that we have some sort of penchant for games that hate us. At one point, you're sitting down and you're doing.
It's apt because I hate myself.
Yeah. The only thing you do in your job.
A subtle nod from Janet.
Grab your stamp, ink, stamp, and then every once in a while you just start going insane. It's like, they're following me again. I'm so worried. I don't know what I'm thinking. I'm so scared. And then you like drink this unknown company issued sort of drink, and everything quiets down again, and you can like go back and like stamp.
This game is here because my friend Gary is working on it from Wired Productions.
Oh yeah, Gary, I met him.
I feel like I didn't see it there.
It's right next to Zukosis.
It's literally right next to Zukosis.
Well, what's funny is I didn't see Zukosis yesterday. Are they swapping what games are on at what day?
No.
Or is this a whole of reality?
Why did my original appointment not include Zukosis?
Because they're not.
They came down with the Zukosis. Zukosis is the name of the disease the animals
Wow.
get. Yeah.
So
sure.
yeah,
and other animals.
It's really creepy.
Disturbed, down with the sickness.
Yeah. Oh, wow.
Yeah, that. Try it, you want to try it?
Wow.
Yeah. So yeah, it's definitely a Mike game. At one point, I got chased by a monster, and I kept getting murdered because I would go, monster, instead of run. So there was that. But yeah, it's really cool. And I didn't think I was going to think much of it going in. And then I played it, and I'm like, oh, actually, I need Mike to play it. I need Mike to play the rest of this and tell me it's good.
Yeah, I've been meaning to stop by. I promised Gary since Guerrilla Collective that I was going to play it. But I think the build is on Steam currently, or I think he's going to send me one. So yeah, I'm excited to check it out. It's, again, something I want to play at home, not during an event.
So let's talk about a horror game that you did play. Everybody get their Volvies up. Volvies in the air.
You can do a half Volvy.
It's Fear the Spotlight. Volvies up.
Yeah.
Go ahead. Well, how did you feel about it, Mike? Because I only caught you halfway through this.
Fear the Spotlight is my game of the show.
Yes, it is. It might be mine too.
Yeah, really?
Yeah.
Holy shit. Fear the Spotlight is from a husband, wife, brother, or sister?
Friends.
No, it's either husband or wife or brother. Dev team.
A dev duo, we will say.
Just to be safe.
Just to be safe. Dev Duo. This is the first game from Blumhouse Publishing. As I spill my liquid IV. It is a retro throwback. It is a Resi-like, a PSX Resi-like experience where you play as a high schooler, I guess?
Yeah.
Yeah.
A high schooler named Vivian with her friend.
A high schooler who should be named Janet because she looks...
The character looks exactly like me.
Yeah, it's
weird.
doppelganger.
You'll be hearing from our lawyers.
And the other friend is Amy.
And the other friend is Amy. The setup is that the school has like an occult display
For some reason,
going
just
on.
happens to have like a.
They're
Ouija
celebrating
board.
the
Yeah.
occult in the library,
Yeah.
so like the setup is that you are kind of like breaking into the school. It seems like, or
Yeah.
like it seems like you are working for the library, volunteering
Yeah,
for the
like you
library,
are
so
the
you have
goody two
access.
shoes,
Yeah.
like straight A student. You're friends with the kind of like rebel student who
Yeah,
knows how to
so
break in.
it seems like Amy's taking advantage of Vivian just to get this Ouija board. To get the Ouija board, it is very Resi-like. We're very heavy on exploration. You have to find the key. To get to the key, you got to get the key card to the office, and you know, there's the whole Resi puzzle cadence. Which that part of it, awesome. It's doing the right thing,
Yep.
hitting all the right notes. Very reminiscent of like what Crow Country did
Yep.
a couple months back. Love it.
No sticking your hand in the trash though.
Yeah, no stick your hand in the trash. Once you get that Ouija board, things really pop off. I think that's where the dev team really starts stretching their legs in terms of visual storytelling and just using the genre of horror in a very interesting way of like utilizing light, utilizing sound in a very interesting way,
Such good-
utilizing the environment in a very interesting way. It's not as open as a Resi or even as open as a Crow Country, maybe later on. But they really use that to their advantage to kind of like signpost the player, like delicately, like it's not very handholdy or anything like that, but you know, like bookshelves falling or whatever
Yeah.
it may be. Just to really tell this like genuinely like eerie, creepy, and towards the end, like fucking
Genuinely
horrifying experience.
I was so excited because I knew something. I had played it, I think, the first day, and I was waiting for Mike, and I saw him playing it, so I sat down next to him, and I was looking dead at him when I knew one of the big scares was coming up, because when I played it, I felt stupid because I like, so I was like staring him in the face to see what he was gonna do.
Did it get me?
He jumped.
Yeah, that was the one jump. Yeah.
That made me feel a lot better about my reaction.
Also, the school lost 32 children in a fire.
Oh,
The
yeah.
word-
About that.
jeez.
Don't
I did
even
see
worry
the
about
like as we, Mike so generously offered to like let me crash his appointment because I didn't have like one set up already, so I didn't get as much of like the sound design stuff because we had like Mike on the headphones and on the sticks, but he did let me like hear some of it, so I did see a little bit of them flexing their muscles there. But yes, they while exploring around, it was like, yeah, this is the poster of the 32 kids that we lost in this school fire, and I'm like, well, obviously, like this is gonna be something with these the children of the flames are gonna come through, which they do kind of do that.
Kind of. I like how subtle it is with the poster.
Yes.
Or
Yeah.
we're calling it a poster. It's a nice.
It's like
a nice
remembrance
plaque.
thing.
Yeah,
There's a lot of kids they lost.
There's a lot.
Yeah.
So 31 too many, I would say. One kid, whatever.
One kid, that's fine. Burned to death horrifically.
But I like that, like when you first find that plaque and you interact with it, you get some story context. All like it does the subtle thing where like all the faces are normal. It's a normal kind of thing. But when things start to pop off, you go back to that plaque and they're all like skeleton face.
Yeah.
I like little. It's like cliche, I guess you could say, but it's done well. It's very effective still. I didn't roll my eyes at it. I thought it was still cool.
Yeah, like I saw it coming, but it didn't seem like cheesy.
Yeah,
it just felt like a little like I guess a little predictable in that sense, where I'm like,
Sure.
yeah, like it's probably, I'm guessing these fire children are going to be haunted. Wouldn't you haunt like the school? Where you, like, why 30 kids? That's an institutional problem. One
Yeah.
kid, that's a tragedy. 32, we're looking at the school at that point. But
Like I didn't even see the plaque ahead of time.
that's interesting now.
So,
yeah.
The only way I knew there was like a fire was like subtle references, like they were doing renovations.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
There's really like even in
In a
the
different little way,
20
yeah.
minutes of gameplay, probably like great world building.
Yeah.
I'm really interested. Did you get to unlock the bottom cabinet?
No.
I'm assuming that's just not in the
I
demo.
didn't think it was there.
Okay.
Yeah.
It seems like there's like secrets in the bottom of the filing cabinet in the office. I'm very
Yeah.
interested. So like all the lore bits and like all the world building stuff was like really interesting.
The thing that stood to me, like the two highlights of why I think this is like like worth coming back to or like seems interesting is for me the sort of cinematography of it. I think they like hit the camera angles really nicely in a way that feels like a little unique. I mean, it is third person, but something about like you're not too far, you're not too close. It feels like the perfect kind of distance.
Yep.
And one thing I really enjoyed was like the crouch mechanic. It almost takes like a first person kind of nature. Like it feels very like immersive, and I think that will be really fun like in the context of horror because I think it'll add to that like that terrifying feeling of you make the Resident Evil comparison. If you think of like RE8, like the House of Benedito or whatever. It's like that idea of there being a thing and like the fear of looking at that thing.
We should clarify, there's no combat.
Yeah, there's no combat.
That it seemed like when Jordan, friend PR person,
He said
was
no
describing
combat,
it, he said no
which
combat,
I assume. Well, I wish I just triple checked if that's just for the demo or for the game.
yeah.
I think it's for the game.
I believe it's the game.
Yeah, and it had some really cool shots for like for the demo. It's big reveal, like kind of the climax of the demo, which was also kind of cool that it had like they had a segment that could do that could have kind of a beginning, middle, and end. I don't think every demo needs to do that by any means, but it really felt like you did play like a full like small experience, which is kind of like rare. So I want to show that out. I think it was a well-crafted demo. The thing I keep going back to, like I know y'all are like both really hot on it, like oh, top of the show. For me, it's not that high, but I'm also not as big of a horror person. But I want to go back.
You weren't in the headphones because I think the audio
The headphones do
cannot.
The headphones do
Yeah,
change
you
things.
cannot overestimate how great that
sound
audio
design is fantastic.
In general, like I hate the headphones so much. I just didn't even wear the headphone. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
the audio design.
Threw 'em
'cause
on the ground and
all,
stomped
all
on
the
'em.
horror is in the audio, so I'm like, turn this down. Like yucky.
Also, something super interesting. This game came out
Like a few months ago.
a few months ago, September, I think it was,
Yeah.
last September, and Blumhouse saw it, and the devs, Blumhouse obviously expressed interest, and the devs took it off Steam. Whoever purchased it still has access to that original version, but they took it off Steam. It was originally like a 2 to 3 hour experience, and because of Blumhouse's funding, they were able to add so much more into the game and so much more polish. So I think it turned into, what did they say, 5 to 6, 5 to 7
Yeah,
hour
it's-
experience?
Less than that. But they said
Three to five.
3 to
It was
5, okay.
because
definitely
it was like an extra like 1 to 2 hours of content, you know, depending.
Which
But,
is like substantial.
Yes, that's like especially significant when you think of the context, right? Like if you have something that's like 2 to 3 hours and now it's 3 to 5, it's like sure it's not that many extra hour, but like you didn't have that many to start with, so you're like not quite doubling it because again math, like what's the math, Laura? We don't know, but it is I don't know the percentage wise it increases quite a bit. So
and you can see a lot more in depth of that. I just looked it up. And Digital Trends, our friend of the show, Gio, has written, "Fear the Spotlight is a creepy and surprising start for Blumhouse games."
Yeah,
And
I
he
will-
goes into that a lot.
Yeah, and just like to end cap this, my favorite thing of the weekend is just like out of the showcases I've seen so far. For context, I didn't see Day of the Devs or Devolver or any of the other ones. I'm going to download them for the flight.
Yeah.
But for the Keeley show in particular, the Blumhouse announcement was by far the most exciting thing of the weekend. Like their entire slate.
I'm gonna counter with Outer Sloth being the most exciting.
Outer Sloth also, yes, up there as well. And also on the Xbox show, Mixtape. Top 3.
For Beethoven and Dinosaurs, the creator of the
Artful Escape.
Yeah, so
the thing with the Outer Sloth thing is it's Inner Sloth launching a company called Outer Sloth, which is going to be publishing
perfect.
and like funding indie games. So they're kind of like taking people under their wing and just sort of like supporting them in getting their projects created. The sort of ethos is we had our indie game and it was successful. Like we want to see more indie games find success, which I think is like really, really incredible of them and really needed in the space. And it kind of just goes to show like everybody else like step the fuck up because like they're doing it, and I know they're very, very successful, very successful.
Yeah.
Like
They got
they got
that
wild money. But by everyone else, I don't mean like in the indie scene. I mean like in the wider like publishing scene.
Yep.
Because the fact that like again, I know they are mega successful, but they are still an indie, and they're like, hey, what are we doing with all our success? We're giving back. We're funding stuff. We're like growing the larger thing, not just like, well, I'm not saying that everyone necessarily needs to do that, but I just think if we had more people doing that kind of thing, we would all be better for it.
Yeah.
So love to see it, and I know that, we've talked about a lot about the AAA publishing initiatives of like EA Originals and like all of that, but we've also seen a lot of hits to that, Private Division with like, Roll 7 and everything, and like, so I always am excited to see more of that kind of stuff. I guess maybe it's more funding than publishing in a sense, but
I think
it might be
funding,
more funding. I think
yeah.
funding is more accurate than publishing. So let me correct myself on that. But money is very needed. I mean, I was talking to like an indie developer yesterday, and they mentioned like kind of like wishing they didn't need their publisher. They're like, I wish I could publish myself, but they can't afford to. So I do think. I think that's kind of why like the publishing part came to mind, because it's like not everyone has, and it goes back to like what is an indie, where you're like, I don't want to like cut out having a publisher because some people just don't have the privilege to self-publish kind of thing. So so many things that go into that, but happy to see it, and exciting to see like an indie thing like on stage, like represented
The
by real
main
people.
stage.
Yeah. Yeah.
Great show for that.
Okay, go ahead.
Overall, I'm with Mike on this, that I didn't get to see enough of the funny thing about going to these in-person events is you don't get to see a lot of the actual showcases because you're here trying things out, going and doing appointments and things.
Stuck in traffic for an hour and a half.
So I don't have enough to be able to say what my game of Summer Game Fest was, but I think as far as play days goes, the things that were here that I went hands-on with, I'm definitely with you. I think Fear the Spotlight was my big one. Janet?
Which is very surprising.
Yeah.
I'm really surprised to hear that.
No, it's so good. Janet, do you have off the cuff, what was your favorite thing that you went hands-on with?
Yeah, because logistical thing, when are we getting kicked out?
Well, also you have to leave at some point for your dinner.
I do.
So we can do rapid fire, and
Yeah.
then, I want to hear what your game of the show
I do
is.
have a favorite. I guess let's do some rapid fire.
Let's do
stuff.
rapid fire. I could go super quick with a couple.
Are we
Go
on
ahead.
still Saturday
Go
still?
I don't know, we're just do
No,
whatever.
we're just doing rapid fire now.
Okay.
Robots at Midnight is an awesome,
Okay.
approachable Souls-like. Yeah. Really delightful. I love how the game looks. I love that the game is doing something different, similar to Another Craft's Treasure, really opening up the floodgates to, that need or that desire for something vibrant and something approachable in the Souls-like genre. Like, Robots at Midnight is very much doing that. It feels great. It looks great. It does this really interesting mechanic of as like it's kind of like the Breath of the Wild thing, sort of ish, or I guess Ocarina of Time, where when the sun goes down, the all the enemies get like red eyes and they're a little more challenging. So I like that they're doing something a little more interesting, a little more different than your Elden Rings, your Bloodborns, all that good stuff.
Yep.
Really, really surprised by it. You played it?
I did. I had my Volvy up. I enjoyed it. I had a good time with it.
Cool.
Same thing.
Sweet.
I liked it.
We should probably mention Replaced.
Yeah.
Replaced
Yeah, Replaced was
rocks. A really interesting demo. Also, I like that it was separated into three segments.
sections, yeah.
So like the prologue to give you like the bit of a lore and setup, the actual like first act ish of the game to like really give you a sense of what the world is like, which way more dense than I'd imagined. Oh my god,
Yes.
I feel like we're just gonna get lost for hours and with just characters and secrets and all that good stuff. And the combat, like the combat rocks.
Yeah.
Combat real good.
I was down with that.
Yeah. Did it get a date?
I don't remember.
I don't think so. I was surprised. Yeah, because it wasn't on the Xbox show. I was very surprised by that.
I know. Yeah, I was like, oh, that
Weird.
was the one thing I thought I was going to see here, but
Yeah.
Okay.
And I think the last thing I'll mention is, and I think we all played it, Lush Foil
Yep.
from Annapurna. This is the photography sim. Very light on gameplay, if you want to call it a walking sim, sure. But man, like it's literally a photographer or photography simulator. It is so in-depth in terms of the art of photography and like the settings and like really get into the weeds of like what you would do with a DSLR in like these grand landscapes. We got to play Italy, Japan, and Australia.
Yes.
Italy and Australia, cool. Jumping into Japan, oh my god, that shit was so beautiful.
Yes.
Really, like, so, I know it all sounds like buzz terms, but it's so immersive. I really just, like, subtly took my time walking around and, like, finding interesting shots, playing with different lenses, different filters. There are, like, some gameplay-y kind of things. Like, there were collectibles around. You could find little paper airplanes to, like, throw them off, like, little mountains and stuff. Did you guys find the QR code? In the
Yes.
game?
Yes.
I didn't find the
Isn't
QR code.
it so
I didn't
cool?
find the cat either. I didn't find anything that.
I found a bunny.
But I found some good photos, and that's what the game was really about.
That's what it's about.
So who really won? But Jill, what was this? Where's this cat?
It was also in the gates section, the Japan section. So the barcode that we were talking about,
QR code.
QR code, sorry.
Same thing.
Yeah, technology. It is on the map, like the tourist when you pop up and you're like, you are here kind
Yeah.
of map. And you go to the QR code. If you actually look it up on your phone, it is the actual real site's map.
It's the actual location, which is wild.
That's so
That's such a
cool.
great touch.
It's absolutely. And then the thing I really liked about this game was that exploration was really a big part of it. So it's not just finding the best pictures, but it encourages you to kind of go off the beaten path, and then you find things like a paper airplane. So you're like throwing paper airplanes everywhere. Now you want to take pictures with your paper airplanes, or you find like a board that has a bunch of pictures, and now it's a scavenger hunt with pictures, and you're trying to find where they took all those pictures. Yeah, and so the cat came out of that, where I was just walking off the path. Cat flies by me. I'm like, was that a cat? I'm gonna.
Similar with the bunny in Italy, the Italian bunny, very fast.
Yeah. So it just made you want to like go off the beaten path and try to find the cat.
Now that you mention it, I am like almost 1,000% sure that I had played that game before under a different name when it was just New Zealand. Okay, what is it's like called something New Zealand? Yeah. Okay, so that's it's interesting to see what has changed, because I think at that time, well, actually maybe it's still like it's still kind of that scavenger hunt like element, but I do think there's like some fun, like you guys mentioned, gameplay, more traditional gameplay integrations, but really the fun is like, do you like the idea of learning about photography a little bit more through like playing with things like adjusting the aperture and the shutter speed and the ISO and all of that? That's what it's for, and it has like a nice little soothing soundtrack underneath as well. So it again, I'm always saying this almost every episode. Like, people might think like it's not really a game, and it's like there really are things that are added that do make it like a capital V Volvy video game. You know.
Real quick, the last thing, I got to play Sonic X Shadow Generations. Shit slaps. Sonic sickos. We're so back. We're so fucking back, y'all.
Back to the okay. I'll do my quick hits. We got the Netflix game stuff, which I think has my game of the show in there. So I'll just shout out what all the games are, and then I'll go to that. Okay. I played Cozy Grove. Sorry, Cozy Grove. What's the name of
Summer Spirit? Spirit Summer Camp?
Camp Spirit? Camp Spirit, maybe? It's Cozy Grove 2. They didn't want to call it that because they want people to like kind of be more down for it. And in a way they call it, I talked to the team a lot about it, and they were like, this is kind of the true vision of Cozy Grove. One reason I asked, like, why a second game and not just, continuation on the first, and they were talking about they sort of like design-wise and also like technology-wise, to a degree, backed themselves into a corner with like certain things, and they kind of felt bottlenecked in trying to like do some of the things they wanted to do, so they created like a new game to sort of have that. The islands are no longer procedurally generated. The thing I want to shout out is that I do not remember why, but I know I did not like Cozy Grove 1. I think I found it too grindy. No idea if this fixes that or if I'll like this instead, but I will say, like, having played it a little bit, it made me want to give the game a chance when I felt like, again, after didn't like 1, so like, well, like 2. Historically, probably not, but it's possible, and I'm interested in it. And it's, it's Cozy Grove, it's cute. There's little bears, and you're like hanging out. It's
cozy, but it's also like it's creepy.
Yes, it's like has like spirits and ghosts and things. We should say it's like to use like the most basic comparison, it's like Animal Crossing, but like it's a sim.
I mean, the developer even kind of wink to the Animal Crossing thing, because they're like, you're not gonna go away from this and then have like weeds start popping up and people asking where you've been. Like, you can come back in and everyone will just be happy to see you. It's also cozy, creepy. So my immediate reaction, you're a kid going to summer camp, going to like scout camp, and your bus crashes and you're suddenly alone and in this spirit realm where like bear ghosts are hanging out and you're trying to help the bear ghosts. So I turned to the dev. I'm like, so am I not supposed to know I'm dead, or what's going on here? And she's like, I will not entertain any fan theories. Thank you very much.
Yeah, it should be. It is worth noting that, especially if you're not familiar with Cozy Grove, that one of their big like differentiators is like the heart and wholesomeness like of the stories of the bears. If you played Spiritfarer, it kind of has like a bit of that energy of where you're sort of like you find an item and then you give it back. Like if Joe's a bear, I'd give her this bottle of Perrier. It's a very sponsored, not sponsored show, I guess. I don't know. Like,
don't you mean Coca-Cola?
Yeah, some Coca-Cola or something, right? And then like I don't know, she'd have some like engagement with the memory and like things shift. So it's a very like magical, spooky, nice little take on that genre. So that's kind of what sets it apart. Also from Netflix, I did play a little bit of A Ranger.
Yep.
Still seems cool. I had that very high up at
GDC.
Yeah, at GDC, and I've listed it for like most anticipated for me in the indie scene. Long and short of it, you're a character, you're moving on a grid where like the tiles are kind of moving, and the gameplay is like it's casual puzzle gameplay where you might have to do something like, there's a sword near me, as I move down the right, ooh, it hits an enemy, and you're sort of playing with the environment in that way. My other quick shout out is Harmonium, which I think is my game of the show. This is a story game about a deaf girl who used to like play music and still plays music, but she kind of started losing her hearing, and she's sort of dealing with like trying to like keep into music and like meet her parents' expectations and things like that. But what's really, really cool about the game is that it has ASL in it. It is subtitled so you can like follow along, but parts of the game, the underlying mechanical theme of the game is like trying to communicate. Yeah. So sometimes that's like you trying to understand like what your friend is signing to you, or maybe it's like, you know, you end up going to the magical world of Harmonium, and then you like communicate with other creatures who like I'm pretty sure they don't have like ASL, but they have like a different sign language.
HSL, Harmonium Sign Language.
HSL. So they're kind of trying to like communicate between the two. And the thing I've been saying over and over again is, again, what is it? Y'all know the language game I'm always thinking of. I blanked on the name all of a sudden. Chance of Sonar. Chance of Sonar is an incredible game. I am not at all saying this is on that level, because I think very few games are. It's not even an indictment on Harmonium. I just want to clarify that. But if you enjoyed that because of that communication layer, I do think this has a lot of that. It is a little like, you know, like slow in the movement back and forth. Like the game's not out yet. Maybe I'll like come back and be like, y'all, Harmonium let me down. But playing it early on, all the puzzles were a little different. You were doing one with like trying to communicate statues. Anyway, I could go on for too long, but these are supposed to be quick hits. It was very cool and very different, and I liked it a lot.
And I would say very necessary.
Yeah, 100%. Love to see this.
Something I was talking about with the devs, that like there's just there's a misconception of like deaf people can't enjoy music. Like that's not true, especially where we had this like weird like connection moment of like my background is in audio engineering and music. I used to be in the music industry and film industry, specifically for audio. So yeah, like having that conversation about like interpreting music through like vibrations and amplifiers and voltage and like whatever it may be. So yeah, like the intention of this is not as like an educational game, but like it's going to be a nice side effect.
Yeah, like, and again, it uses like actual ASL in it, and the thing the creators said, they echoed the same thing. They're like, it's not an educational game, but if it gets people to be like somewhat a little interested in learning ASL, like that's a dub for us. Yeah. Also, just like a great approach to like the development of it, like it's like a deaf. It's a game about being deaf that's made by deaf people, and not just like in like the core team, but also like they mentioned like, oh, we have like some deaf animators, and like again, it's not
voice actors.
Yes.
Yeah.
So there's
And
like
even,
a lot
I think
of that integrated in there.
Melody is the
I think
protagonist.
her name is Mel.
Peruvian, I believe they said.
No,
Was it
Filipino.
Filipino, and like even like I believe like they had like
Yes.
Filipino writers come on board and animators, just like really like be as authentic and yeah, just inclusive as they possibly can.
Like inside baseball, for how these things go, usually when you're finished with an appointment, there's a solid minute of like, thanks for having me, thanks. So I got to use my only sign language.
Yeah. No, I mean, we can go more. I have more inside baseball stories on that too because I'll keep it short, but I just started learning ASL actually. Like I took my first class like last week, so like being able to like, oh my god, I'm like, this is a moment where I need to do it. So like being able to tell like that developer like nice to meet you in sign language was like very cool, and like
that's super cool.
and it's just like again, I was very interested in like learning ASL for like a very long time, and like I feel like this was it was so exciting to like have that component too, and like, you know, this sounds very cheesy, but like there's nothing wrong with learning something while you play a video game. I don't think necessarily, again, it's not like it's an educational game, but like there are a lot of games that like teach you many things that are not necessarily designed to be educational by nature.
Guys, shout out your Annapurna notes right here.
Absolutely.
So the 3 games: Flock, that one camera game, that mech game, Bounty Star, very good. I know you weren't vibing with it too much. But I kind of leave it. I'm not a big mech person, but it took me a while to like kind of grasp as somebody
it.
who like really wants to get into like Armor Core and stuff, Armor Core is like way too intense for me.
Yeah.
Like there's too many systems, too many mechanics, too many buttons. Bounty Star very much strips everything back.
Is this 100% more cowboys, 100% more attention?
I mean, honestly, yeah, it's the cowboy thing.
That
also.
is true. Yeah,
It's the
it has
thing.
a cowboy thing, and there was like a farming sim element too. But like, I didn't like the feeling of like getting the cactus. Like picking up the cactus didn't feel good to me.
Sure, I mean,
and that
the big robot stuff was cool.
The big robot was cool, and I got my head around it eventually. Like I wasn't down on it, but I was neutral on that game. I guess my last one's Flock. This one can definitely be cut short because if you listen to the show regularly, which I encourage you to do, Jill, you've talked about it many times, but it was my first time playing it, and I really loved it. Magical, chill, calm. Like this is gonna be my new Solar Ash, where it's like no offense to the OST because it's a nice OST. It's like I want to put on my own stuff. and just like fly around on my like animal and like do whatever.
It's
But
multiplayer too, so all of us need to get it.
I
Yeah,
forget
very
that it's
excited.
multiplayer, yeah. But those are all my quick hits that weren't so quick. My not so quick hits. Just for the sake of like the time stamping of this is the exact moment in the show where we realized that we haven't had video footage for quite a bit of time.
Yeah,
but
for
maybe an hour, I'm guessing.
like 18.
That's not terrible,
18
honestly.
minutes.
No, 18 plus 15. What's 18 plus 15?
Oh, and more math.
30-ish.
It's 30-ish.
Half hour.
Yeah. So, I mean, honestly, that's not terrible.
Yeah.
It's not ideal, but that's okay. We'll just
It's fine.
put a picture of Volvy at just 3 Volvies standing next to each other or something. We'll figure it out.
So to end off, I'm just gonna say I played Hyperlight Breaker. This is the second time that I've played it. I did play it before Day of the Devs. This one was a much more directed demo, which I think was really good for the game, because I think the first one, they sort of just popped you into the world and was like, okay, go ahead. And it's really difficult to get a sense of anything that's going on. So for this one, they said, go to this place, defeat the enemy here, go to this place, defeat the enemy here. So there was a really good curated space where you could like get a sense of the different combat, but also a lot more of the traversal, because you've got like your glider and you've got your jumping up and your dash, which you can combine all of those elements, and you do have to do that at one point in kind of platforming situation. So to get to the final boss, there's no like road, so you have to get up there somehow, and learning that you can put like the hoverboard that they have together with the glider, together with the dash, and just go up and up and up. Really a lot of fun. So Hyperlight Breaker, everybody.
Yeah, this is my first time playing it. Bless you.
Thank you.
Cool. This is my first time playing Hyperlight Breaker. I really loved it. I was not a huge fan of Drifter. I know that's like a hot take, maybe. I thought combat in Drifter felt like really stiff. Granted, this is a way different game. This is a third-person action 3D game, open world. And I am not a roguelike person. I'm usually not vibing with the roguelikes. But yeah, no, I really loved it. I think it's well paced. I think the way they handle the roguelike structure in terms of like having 5 lives, and then once you lose those 5 lives, aka getting like a quote unquote game over, that's when the roguelike kind of like reset kicks in. I think it's really interesting, and the combat is fluid. It's fast. It's fun. I'm really excited to play more. And full multiplayer, 4-player, 2-player, something like that.
Something like that.
I don't know.
It's definitely multiplayer.
I think it's 2, but
Yeah. So we're going to go ahead and wrap up, because we're going to get kicked out of the Summer Game Fest play days.
Summer Game Fest forever.
Festing just keeps going.
They have to drag me out of here. I'm just kidding. That's not true.
Stay until next year.
With that, this session is closed. Go play some indies.